Good morning, Ancient Warrior here. Welcome back to Prepping USA. Let's do an update on Operation Hot Musket. It's more of what I thought it was originally. It's a line of bull. I have a friend who lives a few blocks from me. His son is a Lubbock City cop. He went out to Reese Air Force Base and didn't find anything. Matter of fact, he told me he wasn't aware that it had all been completely sold off to various organizations and to various companies. There's nothing out there. Guys, this is running hand in hand. This is running hand in hand with what happened a few years ago. Matter of fact, I think it was in 15 or 16. Young man traveled, and I'm having to try to pull this up out of memory. Young man traveled from, I think, Ohio to Maryland because he'd been reading all this crap on the internet. He'd been hearing all this crap on YouTube about the Comet Pizza. And he was bound and determined to go save the children who were being molested in the basement of the Comet Pizza. Shot up the place, and he found out it was a line of crap. I'd always suspected it because I know cops in general. They're good, decent, God-fearing. Most of them are God-fearing people. I don't care which God they believe in. Child abuse is never acceptable, especially from somebody from a Western who grew up and lived in a Western culture. Now, sound vaguely familiar to something else that happened? How about back in September and October of this year, Mr. Sayok from Florida started mailing pipe bombs to Democrats. Guys, they made a big deal out of this. Now, they didn't make a big deal when Don Jr. and Vanessa Trump received envelopes full of white powder to their homes. They didn't. The media found this quite acceptable because of what Donald Sr.'s doing. Folks, and most of what I'm going to do over the next week is going to be talking about the media. I'm going to do what I call having Minutemen gear after that. And then we're going to talk about other things. Folks, we need to start looking at to what lengths the other side will go. Would you like to know what lengths those are? There isn't. They'll go to any length to harm conservatives, to break the back of the GOP. Well, they don't have to work too damn hard because some of the GOP's helping them. Doing everything, GOP is real bad right now in having a situation of a circular firing squad. Now, we need to start looking at the veracity of these charges being made by some people. Do I think Mr. Marfukel, who broke the story about Hot Musket, is a bad guy? Nah. I think he's a patsy. I think a leftist happened to see his show, see his program, and then thought that would be something funny to watch all the patriots go scatterbraining. Just didn't expect too many of the Texas patriots to actually go look. Another red flag about this story. Okay, let me tell you about Reese Air Force Base. And I don't remember when. I think it was back in the late 80s. They closed that base down. City of Lubbock bought the base. Texas Tech bought a bunch of the buildings. Smaller companies bought some of the buildings. They demolished part of the old housing out there. Now, why in God's name would any military commander worth his salt think about using Reese Air Force Base for a staging area? I was told it's not conveniently close to a rail yard or anything. That's the first question. Second question is, Abilene's got an air base. I believe it's called Dias. Why wouldn't they, just drive on that extra couple of 100 miles to Abilene? Or why wouldn't they stage it at base at San Antonio, Fort Sam Houston? Or why wouldn't they take the equipment all the way over to El Paso, there to Bliss, home of the 1st Armored? And before anybody starts squalling and yawling, 1st Armored, I know, used to be in Germany, but they started bringing them home. They're now based at Bliss Army Base there in El Paso. And if they really wanted to stage equipment, why didn't they take it to Yuma, Marine Base at Yuma? See, what I'm trying to point out to you is nobody would have paid attention to anything if this story would have come out saying, oh, it was at Dias Air Force Base or at Fort Sam Houston or at Bliss or at Yuma. Nobody had thought anything about it because they're always moving equipment and people around. But the minute they used a base that had been closed since if I remember right, late 1980s. It was on the first round of the chopping blocks of Clinton's chopping block. And it may have been the 90s, thinking about it. Let's see, he won in 88. So yeah, it was probably late 80s, early 90s. No, it would have been 90s because George H.W. Bush went in after Reagan. So it would have been 92, in the 90s somewhere. But my point is, guys, they wanted you to believe. They wanted you to make a mistake. They wanted the story so that they could sit there and point fingers and laugh and say, oh, this is all conspiracy theory. Guys, don't believe everything you see on the internet. You know, it's kind of like P.T. Barnum said, there's a sucker born every minute. And when you start believing crap off the internet, you become that sucker. Okay, guys, with that being said, my buddy's son went out and checked. A man from my church, he and his brother drove out there. Said they had a nice afternoon drive. But folks, we need to calm down. We need to start preparing, because SHTF is coming. The scat's going to hit the fan. I don't know how soon or how late, but it's going to hit. With that being said, folks, brothers and sisters, because we are related through the ideals of prepping. Folks, have a good day. Have a blessed day. And remember, if you're prepping, you're going to live in free America. Have a good day.